A little girl is desperately looking for her mother.
What do you think happened to your mom?
I don't really know.
But it's her mom who's lost, disappearing on the 4th of July as fireworks filled the sky over Troy, Alabama.
She was scared. She was worried about something happening to her.
And now a cloud of suspicion hangs over her ex-boyfriend.
She told me if anything happened to her, make sure y'all check him.
Layla Faulkner was a smart, pretty, outgoing young woman with a bright future.
She was straight A student. She was valedictorian of her class.
She wanted the center of attention. Every one of them wanted to be around her, all the girls and all. She was like the leader.
Layla went away to college in Montgomery, Alabama, but her education got sidetracked. Layla met a man in Montgomery, got pregnant, and had a baby girl.
That's our grandbaby, Madison. And Madison adored Layla.
Layla and Maddie's dad were never married. In fact, they split before Madison was even born. Layla packed up and went back to her tiny hometown of Troy and moved in with her parents. They were more than happy to help the single mom raise Madison.
They would be in the car, they would be singing, and Madison would be singing along, and Layla would just jump in, and even going to the movies, going to different events for the school. Her mom was there.
Back in Troy, Layla meets a new guy, Blaine Graylier. His parents own the sporting goods store in town.
His family is highly respected in our town.
Are you saying he's from a very affluent family?
Yes.
Yes.
Blaine worked for his mom and dad and seemed to be a good fit for Layla's family, too.
Did you like your daughter's boyfriend, Blaine?
He was in softball tournaments just about every weekend, you know, and I was a big sports fan myself. You know, he was all right.
Sparks fly, and Layla soon moves in with Blaine.
They only dated for about 2 months before she moved in with him. At first, everything was smooth.
It seemed like a match made in heaven. But over time, her parents say the relationship turned ugly.
It had gotten real bad, fighting every day. She would call, crying. We went up there a few times, but there's nothing we could really do other than if she would just wanted to come home with us, and she wouldn't.
2 days before July 4th, Layla finally calls it quits with Blaine and reluctantly moves back home with her mom and dad. Shortly after the breakup, Layla shakes the tiny town of Troy, making a shocking claim about Blaine on social media.
She posted right before she went missing about a breakup between her and Blaine?
She posted that her boyfriend was leaving her for another man, said he was gay.
Just 2 days after moving back in, on July 4th, Layla's parents take Madison to watch the fireworks. And Layla goes out with friends. It would be the last time they would see her. Her mother looks back at a troubling text she got from Layla back in April. She writes, "I'm scared of BJ. I need you to come get me." Her mom writes back, "Layla, what's going on with you two?" Layla responds, "If something happens to me, it's him."
She was scared. She was worried about something happening to her.
Layla's parents claim the day she went missing, their daughter and Blaine had been in a terrible text war. In addition to accusing him of leaving her for another man, there were also allegations about money and drugs. Layla's parents admit their daughter was struggling at the time.
Layla had demons she was battling.
She had an alcohol addiction, and she was doing drugs too.
At first, the Faulkners were worried but not panicked. They say Layla had disappeared on short trips before, but after 3 days and still no word, Layla's parents begin to panic. They rush to the Pike County Sheriff's Department.
How did you realize something might have happened to your daughter?
She hadn't called or text her mother or anything. Like you said, they talked on a daily basis, you know, even if they had a fuss or argument. And we went up to the Sheriff's Department to file a missing persons report, and they wouldn't file one.
The family says they came in to make a missing persons report on July 7th, but that it wasn't filed.
Because of her history, and she's done this before, And we told the family to, check with her friends to try to find out that make sure that she's not out on one of these binges.
After checking with family and friends, the Faulkners come up empty. Nobody has seen or heard from Layla. Now the Pike County Sheriff's Department launches an investigation.
After no sign of her for so long, you believe something has happened to her now.
We started looking into it a little bit more. We still have nothing to say that she was abducted. We have no information actually placing her anywhere other than that property at her parents' house.
At that point, Lieutenant Troy Johnson goes back to Layla's shocking post on social media about her former flame.
How did her social media post factor into your investigations?
We looked at her Facebook posts, and we saw that that day she was talking back and forth with her ex-boyfriend that she just moved out from, and they were kind of arguing back and forth basically over money and about drugs.
Blaine Graylier is now at the center of the investigation.
Was Blaine an initial suspect or person of interest?
Yes. He first didn't want to come talk to me. He kept trying to say we need to talk to the last people she was with. And the last people that we knew that she was communicating with was you, only through Facebook Messenger. And I asked him then, would he take a polygraph test? And he agreed.
And the results of his polygraph?
How did that polygraph test go with Blaine?
The examiner's answer was he didn't pass it. And I don't know the questions that were asked. I never got the report for the polygraph test. I also asked him to take a follow-up polygraph test, and he wouldn't do it.
There have been several wild stories surrounding Layla's mysterious disappearance. One claiming she was targeted by another man, murdered, and then torched in his truck.
I went out there and looked at the truck, and it's been burned up. But as far as any forensic tests on it, the story just didn't pan out.
The Faulkners' frustration fuels their heartbreak.
All we want is answers. We're so angry because it feels like the sheriff department's not doing anything. And every time what we think is a tip, they say it's hearsay. They won't even check it out.
The family believes that you haven't done due diligence regarding this investigation.
Well, they want to believe everything that's told to them. And if my daughter was missing, I'd want to believe it too. I'd like to give this family some closure. We don't know what happened to her.
Coming up, Layla's former boyfriend comes to Crime Watch Daily to set the record straight.
Did you have an argument and blow up and something happened?
And a disturbing message is sent to the Faulkners.
It's very personal. You don't just walk around town with 2 butcher knives and start stabbing a sign. The reward's up to $10,000 now for any information that leads us to finding Layla or her remains.